What's up, guys? This is like a little bonus podcast, bonus segment. I'm with Jason, who has been on previous podcasts that actually get a lot of views. So shout out to him. But we're actually in person right now. We're in a hotel in Charlottesville, and there's not a whole lot for us to talk about. But I thought, when's the next time we're gonna get we're going to be in person with this dope mic, recording a pod, pop in the trunk, as Jalen and Jacoby said. And so we got the Cowboys game in the background. Ironically, 4:34, Charlottesville area code. That's the amount of time left. So without further ado, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's really nice to finally see into flesh and bone. Usually I do this with my AirPods.
Over Skype,
sitting at my desk or something. But it's nice. This is cool. It's got a cool mic setup. Like to see what's going on in the background while you're recording this, but I'm glad to be here.
So this will be kind of quick. We were the original hope. So for context, right now we're recording late night, Sunday, November 10th, which was the day of the UVA home opener, and I was at the game. I was trying to find a way for you to get into the game, and then you were like, "Oh well, I'll just watch on ESPNU." Didn't quite happen, and so we can't really discuss the game. Turns out you haven't had the chance really to watch too much college basketball. So that obviously that took a lot of content out. So one thing I do want to talk to you about a little bit. It's been about, I think, 3 weeks for the NBA season. And let me ask you, what's the Rockets' record right now? Because I actually don't know. I'm not saying this in like a taunting way. I actually don't know what the record is.
I think it's right now 5-3. I think with the Bulls win yesterday, it might be 6-3.
Okay.
But so I mean, they're off to a decent start. Obviously, not at the Lakers' pace, where I think Lakers are like one loss for opening night, and they've just been killing the league. But I mean, I got some takes about the team. I've seen the total of like one actually full game of the Rockets, and that was when they played the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they were down by 40
because they were.
They
made a run at the end.
They did. They made a run at the end. But my theory was, it was a Saturday night game or Saturday.
It was a Sunday.
Was it a Sunday or a Saturday?
I think it was a Sunday game.
Yeah, it was a Sunday mid-afternoon game. So I was watching it at like 4 or 5 o'clock Central Time. So it was like 5 o'clock Eastern Time. They definitely went out. Like I could tell.
For sure.
I could tell from the pace how sluggish people were. I was like, yo, James, Russ, the team, they definitely went out. And it went, maybe, they didn't have enough time to get the rest, but they did not come out fast or did not come out in condition to play the Miami Heat.
I think that's the popular theory. Hang on, who's in? Oh, never mind. Sorry, I thought the Cowboys were in the field goal distance. Sorry. Anyways, So I think the speculation is that they all were like, they went out and they were dealing with the Sunday scaries, as they say.
Sunday scaries, man.
So I think
it's real.
So I think that game, to me, let's take that game out of it, right? Because that, if you want to chalk it up to the schedule, the time, the day, the city, whatever the case may be, sure. But how have you felt about the overall just vibe and body language and chemistry of the team? Because I'll touch upon this in just a second, but I do feel like there were some concerns I had that have come to fruition. So I'm curious, as a Rockets fan, how have you felt about the teams thus far?
Yeah, I mean, I think having Russ and Harden is ultimately going to be a better thing, because I think they're both great alphas and can really take over a game. But I think they work well together, Russ and Harden, but it's more about the supporting cast at this point. I know Eric Gordon's on a really bad shooting slump, but I'm a big believer in him. He's definitely, has shown in the past to break out of slumps and can come into the clutch. But I think the difference from Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul is that Chris Paul was still able to kind of play ISO, get his buckets, but he was also a good team player. Like, he would be passing and stuff, getting people involved. Russ, I think, is a little bit more reckless, and I think people are just trying to get more acquainted with his kind of style of passing, and obviously he's averaging triple-doubles and stuff, but it comes a little bit differently from the style that Chris Paul plays. I think Chris Paul, he's okay with just kind of slowing it down, surveying the field, and just going for it.
Yep.
Russell Westbrook's more of a like drive, kick, really fast pace. They increased their pace from last year, so I think the team is just trying to catch up to it.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen some interesting like on-off numbers like Harden and Westbrook together. Harden no Westbrook. Westbrook no Harden. Neither. I think it's safe to say without either of them on the floor, the team's not particularly great.
It's garbage.
But what I thought was really interesting was that the best offensive rating they have is when Westbrook is off the floor, and it's also when they're playing at the slowest pace, which makes sense. But I don't know. I think one concern I expressed, I think before the season, there were a couple. One I'll touch upon in a second, but the first was that I feel as though Harden and Westbrook, obviously they're both very ball-dominant guys, but I think the bigger issue that I see is that they both play at very different paces, right? Like Russ is this chaotic, frantic pace, very chaotic, where he's pushing the ball, attacking the hoop. Whereas James, when Russ is doing that, James is standing on the side doing absolutely nothing. He's just standing, hands on his shorts, not moving at all, seems totally disengaged. Whereas when it's no Russ, they play the way they played last season when they really had that rally towards the end of the season, or not even it was like maybe like December forward. And I feel like that's what the supporting cast is used to. So I don't know. I do think that they'll get better. I think they'll get better with time. But I'm curious how you feel about like those, I guess, two different styles. Like, do you think there is like a nice middle ground, or do you think at some point Russ is going to have to kind of concede a little more because James the James formula, so to speak, has worked a little more?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like if you're mixing two different type of solutions, they're at extremes, but I think they'll normalize, and after a certain amount of games where they kind of get comfortable, I think you'll see the pace that James Harden, which was slow, it'll kind of speed up a little bit with Russ, and Russ will probably slow it down a little bit. But they're gonna get their points. Like, they're gonna average.
I was gonna ask about this.
They're gonna get the points.
I was gonna ask about this.
But at the end of the day, it's still a game of I gotta score more points than I allow. You know what I mean? Like, you have to play a little bit of defense. And I'm referencing the Washington Wizards game where they scored
159, and then the Wizards scored 158.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like, you cannot conceivably allow any team, and specifically the Washington Wizards, to score 158. So there's a lot of underlying defensive issues with the team, and I think it really starts with just having like a great wing defender. Like back in the day when they had Trevor Ariza, or even back before that, they had Shane Battier, who just would be like, I'm taking the best player on the other team.
You're saying someone who's a little bit taller than Eric Gordon.
A little bit taller than Eric Gordon.
And a little more perimeter-oriented than PJ Tucker.
A little bit more, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit more perimeter-oriented than PJ Tucker. I think what they're hoping is like the new player that's kind of in their starting lineup, kind of their sixth man, Daniel House.
I was about to ask.
Who's a Houston native, big hometown fan, but he's still young. He's still very raw. He's extremely athletic. Can definitely has the physical tools, but I think it's more about just having the experience and the brains to be able to defend. He's gonna be called upon because he's probably the best fit matchup wise to defend like a LeBron James or a Giannis and stuff, because he is that long, he's that fast. So he's been stepping up in terms of his offensive performance. He's hitting the corner threes. He's running out, getting dunks and stuff. But it's more about if he can play the right type of team defense and lock it down.
Yeah. I was going to bring up the defense, but I guess since we just talked about that brings me to my other concern, which is I feel like Mike D'Antoni's job is not secure at all. What do you think? Do you feel like the lame duck status plus the fact that he has never been a great personality manager, do you think that plus the fact that now it's Russ and James, do you feel like all that is just boiling to a point where he's lost a little bit of influence in the locker room?
Well, I think when you're playing with James Harden and Russell Westbrook, you kind of have to be able to manage their personalities and let them do their thing. Obviously, the type of shots that James Harden takes, like some of the step backs and sidestep threes and stuff, those are conceivably bad shots. Like they're bad shots until they go in. But I think Mike D'Antoni has made it a point to say, look, like, just you can shoot the threes, like, just as long as you don't hesitate taking the easy threes, you can keep shooting. But my problem with Mike D'Antoni is more, and this goes back to his Suns day, he's just not a good like defensive, but also he doesn't adjust to games, right? If the other team has a good game plan, if it's a 7-game series, Mike D'Antoni is not a great tinkerer or changes things in his lineup. And I remember there was specifically an interview with Josh Richardson and Quentin Richardson, a couple Phoenix Suns players, and they referenced
Jason Richardson.
Jason Richardson. Yeah. And they reference kind of the Spurs versus Suns series where Mike D'Antoni was just not able to make the adjustments to what the Spurs were doing, and ultimately that's why they ended up losing that many times to Popovich and the Spurs. So that's kind of my biggest concern. But the thing is, like, I really don't know who would they replace D'Antoni with, right? You still need a coach that can make adjustments and fix all the flaws that D'Antoni has. But then again, D'Antoni is a good, like, laid-back personality that lets Russell and lets Harden kind of do their own thing and kind of be their creative energy to manage the offense and play at their style. So it's really hard. I can't think off the top of my head any head coach that's available that can take it on. But if the Rockets don't meet their expectations of going really deep in the playoffs, I think D'Antoni's the first person on the chopping block.
I definitely think D'Antoni's gone, or not gone. I definitely think he's up there. He's the first. He's going to be the scapegoat if things go wrong. Mm-hmm. Honestly, whoa.
Ooh, we got 1 minute. We got 1 minute left in the Cowboys game. Looks like Cowboys 4th down. I think they're close. They're in the red zone, so they got to score here. So this is
they have to score here.
Yeah, for context, it's 28-24.
Vikings
up against the Cowboys. 42 seconds left. Cowboys had the ball
They just called timeout. Minnesota just called timeout.
And have the ball in the red zone, I think within 20 yards. So this could be a big game for the Cowboys, which I really don't want them to be.
Okay. It's cool. You're an Eagles fan.
I'm an Eagles fan.
Okay.
A lot of people say, "Oh, you must be a bandwagoner." Like
you were an Eagles fan before the Super Bowl.
I was an Eagles fan.
I funny story. I don't know if you remember. We went to office hours the day of the Super Bowl, and you told me that you were an Eagles fan since you were like 7 or something.
Yeah.
So that was before they beat the Patriots for the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
Hey, to put it in context, I remember the Super Bowl. I think it was 2004 maybe when they played the Patriots the first time with Donovan McNabb and
McNabb.
I remember young me was like, oh, I like their jerseys, and I'm really sorry that they lost. They seem to take it really tough. I think I might actually hitch my bandwagon to this team. I'm gonna start rooting for them. So ever since then, I've been a big Eagles fan. So that's why I really want the Cowboys to lose, and they forced the stop on 4th down. Here we go.
Oh okay. Wait, how many yards do they have to go?
No, they need it's a 4-point deficit, so they need.
So they need a touchdown.
They need a touchdown.
How many yards are they from a first down?
Oh, it's 4th and 5, so.
So they theoretically they could get the 5 and then go for a touchdown again, right? Or is there not enough time?
No, it's not. No, they missed the completion. It was 4th down, I believe. Yeah, it was 4th down.
Wait, that was the 4th down?
That was 4th down.
So the game's over?
I think the game is.
I thought that was 3rd. Oh, that was 4th and 5?
Yeah, 4th and 5. It was a good pass. Good play by the linebacker. Got in there. Wow.
Dang.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, they.
So it's Vikings ball now.
Yeah. So just gotta run out.
Damn, I was hoping for a dramatic finish to.
Oh my! Oh,
on the record.
Fumbled it. Oh my goodness.
I was hoping for a dramatic finish on the record.
Okay, I might actually watch the UVA versus Tech football game.
Football game?
I think it might be in Charlottesville this year.
It is. 1 second.
But you were at the game though.
I was at the Georgia Tech game. Yeah.
No, you were at the game earlier today, right?
Yeah. I was there for the first half because
give me some hot takes from the game. Who should I be watching for?
Okay. Before I do that, I just want to quickly finish my Rockets point.
Yeah.
I think he's done a great job, but I think with the China controversy, I wonder if Daryl Morey, if this team underachieves, I wonder if Daryl Morey's on the chopping block.
Absolutely, man. If Daryl Morey loses his job, dude, I don't know what I would do. I might not. He is like an idol. We have the saying in the Rockets community, "In Morey we trust." And look, if Tillman Fertitta, he's new. He just came out with this
new book called "Shut Up and Listen." I don't know
if he fires Daryl Morey, he's gonna have to shut up and listen to the Rocket community because we're gonna riot. We love Daryl Morey. We believe that he is one of the smartest GMs out there, not only in kind of like drafting players and stuff, but just being able to be cunning. Like people, there's a like general consensus in the NBA community that no one wants to be fleeced by Daryl Morey, and that's just how good and how much of a reputation he has. So I'll be sad that he'll get fired. He's going to probably get picked up by another team, and then I'll have to watch, from the distance, like an ex-girlfriend, just kind of seeing, man, like things could have been better.
I don't think he'll get axed, but I do think. I don't think that's out of the question.
That is true.
Given the new ownership. Given the new ownership and this recent controversy, and I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but I actually got to hear Adam Silver in Charlottesville talk very candidly about the China situation, which is really interesting. And the TLDR version is just that he said that a lot of people want to simplify it to choosing money versus choosing morals, and he says that it was not as black and white. And he kind of elaborated a little more about why he felt that way. But Adam's a smart guy, smart, good public speaker as well. So I just thought what he had to say.
Duke grad too.
Duke grad, yeah, that's true. I think he went to Duke Law School.
Duke, yeah,
or was he undergrad? I think it was grad. I think it was Duke grad.
Either law school or
I know he went to
MBA.
U Chicago for grad. I know he went to Duke in U Chicago.
Okay.
But anyhow, so that was sorry. So to get to the question about UVA basketball, since you haven't really gotten a chance to watch, the offense this year is really it's going to be tough to watch at times because not to overreact to a couple games, and I think this is what you expected going in. I think you and I talked about this before. Where's the outside shooting coming from? They started Cody Statman and Casey Morsell.
Yeah.
Casey Morsell went 0 for 9, 0 for 5. Granted, he's a freshman. He's first year. So, I'm not going to overreact. He's talented.
The 0 for 9, were they good shots? Did the stroke look good, or was it like a struggle?
So I saw him miss a lot of finishes that were it was like him one-on-one with against a big guy.
But again,
contested.
It's a big guy from
JMU.
JMU, right? He's gonna have to go up against dogs in the ACC.
Yeah, I think he's got a learning curve.
Okay,
he's got a learning curve. He's not as good as Cal Guy was as a first year. The outside
Cal Guy
got shot 50% from 3 as a first year.
That is true. But he
back with the man bun.
He looked small though. He was small.
I think Casey Morsell is
more
more advanced on the defensive end and physically he's more mature.
Yeah.
But the outside shooting, Kihei was not a good shooter last year. I don't see it crazy. The one guy who's actually I've seen stroke it pretty well this year is Mamadi. Which is really he opened the game with a 3. I've seen him hit it from the mid range and from 3, and I've seen him hit it. He's the one guy I've seen this year that is him and maybe Huff, but I'd say Huff is more 3s and layups. Mamadi is the one guy that I've seen hit it from all 3 levels.
Okay.
And I think he's been the leading scorer of both games.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say was who to look out for. I think Mamadi. When I saw him play when I was a first year and it was his first year of eligibility, I saw him. I said, "This guy moves well," and I like his general. One thing I like to see with big guys is how do they run, how fluid is their running. His running was fluid, but he was getting physically dominated in some ACC games, and his shooting was very shaky. But now I see him much more mature, a smarter, and a much more skilled player, which makes sense. I mean, it's his 4th year playing, 5th year actually within the program.
Yeah, but so, I think from what I've seen since I think he was actually the same year as me. I just never really trusted his basketball IQ at certain levels. I feel like he was physically there. Was always going out for blocks and stuff. He was great on defense, but I still don't think he's a leader of the team. You know what I mean? I feel like any great team needs a leader and someone to point to and be like, okay, we're down by 5, we're down by 7. We need to point to someone and say, all right, you're the man in this situation. You know what you're doing. Go get us some buckets. Go kind of get everyone to collect it together, and we'll follow your lead. Technically, Mamadi is the most experienced and is the most kind of senior person to be able to take on that role. Ooh, good pick. But I just don't think he's really ready to fill in that role.
Maybe not. I don't think you can just hand him the ball and say, go give me a bucket, which I honestly don't know who that is this year. There's no DeAndre Hunter, no Cal Guy, not even a Ty Jerome.
It honestly might have to be Kihei because he's probably the most trusted person with the ball.
Maybe. Okay, so Kihei... I think UVA has a very similar problem that Kansas has. That there's no backup point guard.
Yeah.
And look, Kihei is forever a UVA legend because of the bullet pass that he delivered in the Purdue game. But if I'm being very candid about observing his game, he's not really a guy that I would say he's more of a steady. What's the right what's the right term? I think he's like a more steady. I think it's a wartime general as opposed to a peacetime president.
Okay.
Basically, the idea being when things are getting crazy, like a team's like.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. I'd say he's more. That's the wrong phrase. What I'm trying to say is that he is a guy where he like is very steady and calm and like makes good decisions. But I don't see him as a guy that you just hand him the ball, in the most. And say, like, go get me a bucket, we're down 10 seconds ago. I don't see him as a guy where you're down 15, like, hypothetically, put Kihei in the UMBC game. I don't think that would have fixed.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, I feel like he's a guy that is great. He's at his best, I should say, when you're up 8, you're up 12, and he's just making solid decision after solid decision. I'm really impressed by his passing. Like, he was making great dump-offs today. But... like I said, there's no backup point guard. No true backup point guard.
Yeah.
And that can be a problem because I don't know. I feel like when deep in ACC play, like for instance, Duke comes to town, or Cole Anthony, UNC come to town. I think that if Kihei gets into foul trouble, what I saw in the Syracuse game, there were times they were running Marcel at the point. He's just kind of young.
Yeah.
And then there's just no backup. You look on the bench, there's a walk-on who named Chase Coleman, who is ironically he's the same height as Kihei, and he's a walk-on.
Oh my goodness.
He's actually Matt Coleman's brother. Matt Coleman's he plays at Texas.
Oh yeah.
UT Austin. He's good.
Virginia Player of the Year, right?
Yeah, he's good. Matt Coleman's good. Chase Coleman, he's a walk-on.
Yeah.
He's a walk-on smaller than Kihei, which is crazy to think. So that's the point being. Backup point guard, there's issues, and then the scoring. But that said, defense, the identity is there, rock solid as always. I think you only scored 11 points in the second half today.
Yeah, I mean, it's really got to start with the defense. But another player that I think is actually the key is Braxton Key.
Okay,
yeah, right?
I like Braxton. I was high on Braxton last year, and he somehow lost his starting. He lost the starting gig halfway through the season.
He was new, and I think there were just better players in front of him. But I think he fills in the role that we had with Isaiah Wilkins, kind of like with DeAndre, like someone who can kind of do everything. Rebound.
Defensively, he's definitely pretty versatile. Offensively, I don't know if he's a guy that can create his own shot as easily as like a DeAndre Hunter. But I've always liked when I look at a guy like Braxton, he's 6'8", 6'9". He's like in that perfect role to guard anyone from on the perimeter to like not get bullied in the paint. Yep. So I do like that about him. So I'm with you there.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember whenever we would play Syracuse, and I'm not sure if this happened when they threw out the 2-3 zone, but there was always one player that Tony Bennett would trust to put in the middle of the zone to be able to say, okay, we dump it off to him, and then the person in the middle will be able to figure out, okay, drive, pass, all that stuff. And I feel like Braxton Key is like the person who's that guy. That used to be Isaiah, that used to be DeAndre. But I think if he goes down by injury, I think the whole team kind of falls apart because he was just can do everything, kind of is the glue, kind of fills in the cracks of all the weaknesses that everyone on the team has. My question for you is looking at the team, I think the strength of UVA basketball in terms of kind of the players and the maturity is really the front court, right? Love, Mamadi should be this twin tower, yin yang. Someone good at offense, good at defense, can cover up a lot of stuff.
Yep.
So I think moving forward, I think that's kind of the building blocks and saying like, okay, this is our identity. We have to build it from the front. It's, as you said, it's more about the wings. People that can guard, people that can manage the game. And at the end of the day, like if you're down by 2, down by 3, you can't just pass it to a big man and say go get a bucket. It's more about starting from the perimeter, being able to have a floor general that can get his own shot or pass it off to get someone else set up.
NBA parallel, not that these two teams are related or similar in terms of like talent or anything, but it's kind of the problem the Sixers have a lot of the time, where it's like their best player is a big man and their point guard, their other all-star is a guy who can't shoot or refuses to shoot. So as a result, I've seen so many times, decent amount of times I'd say, where the Sixers are in crunch time, like down to by 2 to the Celtics in the playoffs, and they just can't get anything easy, any good like crunch time offense.
Yep.
So I definitely agree with you there. As for the point about outside shooting that I was bringing up earlier, there is a dude who transferred from
Iowa, I think.
Yeah, it's a junior college in Iowa. I can't say his last name.
Italian, I think.
Thomas W. Let's call him Tommy Dub. Let's call him that. But Tommy Dub, he hasn't played a lot, so I don't know. Like theoretically, he was one of the best JUCO players. Shot it really well in JUCO.
Got a nice
he's a lefty stroke. He's a lefty.
Lefty stroke, right?
Yeah. But that said, maybe he's the solution. Maybe he'll be able to help with the spacing in the offense. But so far, Tony Bennett hasn't given him much time. So Tony Bennett sees what's going on in practice.
He started the Syracuse game from the box score, but I don't think he ended up playing the most.
He didn't play as much. Yeah.
But I think he was a DNP today. I'm not sure if he was injured.
I don't know. The point being, I think he might have. Maybe he was injured. Honestly,
because he didn't check in at all. Even when
even when the box score
played. So.
Let me check the box score. Yeah. So, and I do think Morcell will improve. I think this is a year where there's there's obviously like the upperclassmen in the front court, but I think in the backcourt, Tony Bennett's really gonna let the young guys get their reps.
Yeah.
I think I could see Morcell, honestly. Morcell potentially could. I know this is sacrilege to say, but he has a lot of upside. He could be like in that Cal guy stratosphere in terms of like a quality, like an all ACC 2-guard.
Yeah.
So
but we got to remember that Cal guy really didn't start kind of coming into the zone until his like
second year.
But even junior year and senior years, that's when he was the man, right? Like him, Ty Jerome, that's when they were developing. So again, like Morcell, like I totally believe, he is going to be a big key member of the team, but it's going to be a lot to ask for him starting off.
Yeah, he got a DMP. Some dude, I don't even know this guy. Last name Palumbo. Sounds like a walk-on.
Yeah, sounds like
Chase Coleman played 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wait, he pulled a 7 trillion. Dang.
He didn't record any statistical.
Well, is it a trillion if you get over on the field goals? Is that a trillion? We gotta ask Mark Titus.
We gotta consult the definitions here.
Club trillion, but yeah, he pulled a 7 trillion if the offers count. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, Statman and Morcell 0 for 11 from 3.
But it seemed like Statman actually played the most minutes. But I guess he was out there during garbage time, probably.
Getting his reps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you look at the backup guard. Like, take a look at this. Who are the backup backcourt players coming in? Justin McCoy got some run. He's a freshman. He's new.
Forward, though.
He's like 6'6", 6'7" ish. Yeah, so but like Grant Kersey's a walk-on. Nixon's a walk-on. Coleman's a walk-on. The point being, the perimeter is what's shaky.
Yeah. But I hope recruiting is working. Like if we got any.
There's Abdul. I can't say the dude's name.
Yeah, he was the
son of the NBA player who's like a top 50 guy. He's coming in. He's a guard.
Okay.
So that's that. Plus, you hope to see improvement.
We got another white kid from Carolina, McCourty or something. Carson McCourty.
I'm not.
He's got some Kyle guy vibes, but he's just a 3-star athlete.
White
guy who seems like he could dunk and shoot. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yo, Kihei dunked today in warm-ups.
Oh wow.
He tried the first time.
It was like a bounce and then kind of like.
No, he went like he didn't like bounce it up to himself. He dunked the first try. He missed. He almost got it the first try, and I saw him mouth fuck. And he got it on the second try.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still what the defense does. I mean, how much did Syracuse score? 34.
34.
And that's how much Cole Anthony scored. Like,
James Madison also scored 34 today.
Oh my goodness!
So far, I'm pretty sure that's the fewest points allowed for a Division I team this season.
Unreal.
Has to be.
Unreal.
Has to be.
Unreal. And I think the best part about the pack line now is because the 3-point line is kind of moved further out. I think that pushes people to take even tougher shots.
Yeah.
Because they force them to the 3-point line, and if it's stretched out even further, like they're gonna miss more and more threes. So I think that could help. But it's a little bit stressful on the pack line because again, like you're packing things in and now you're kind of stretching a little bit more to the perimeter. But I think in the 3-point line change is going to help out a lot because it's really going to force a lot of opponents to take shots from 3. So
that's a good point. I agree with you 100% there. Well, I was gonna ask, like, how many UVA games do you see yourself watching this year? Probably the big games, like the ACC, Purdue.
Anything on the weekends is probably good for me as long as I can get like streaming abilities.
Yeah.
I have cable. I have ESPN. I try to pull up ESPNU, but apparently ESPNU is not within the set of ESPNs.
You just gotta wait. I think Carolina's gonna be an ESPN game.
Absolutely.
Duke's gonna be an ACC game because those are Saturdays nights too.
Yeah.
I think College Game Day is gonna be here for Duke because that's like game day starts in January and Carolina comes in December because the ACC's got an expanded schedule now.
I see.
But yeah, okay. So I guess just rapid fire. What seed do you think this team's gonna get in an NCAA tournament?
I think they could pull off a potentially like 3 seed. I think
their ceiling is a 3 or 4 seed, where the defense is solid enough to get them like
into the
to go 14-6 in the ACC.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 to 2 conference losses, and then the committee's like, okay, you played, the metrics say you're good, and you played in a tough conference.
They've been what 3 years straight where they were a number 1 seed.
3 out of the last 4, 4 of the last 6, and then 5 of the last 6. Sorry, 4 of the last 6 years they were a 1 seed. 5 of the last 6 years they were a 1 or a 2 seed.
Exactly. So they have a track record, and I think the committee would probably see them as like a you call it blue blood, right? They like, come on, we've shown in the past 5-6 years that this is a pretty solid team, and should have that type of reputation. But I think a 3.
I think 3-4 is the ceiling. I don't see a 2.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's enough offense to get a 2. But I also could see this team being like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7. 8 might surprise me only because I think when you're a Tony Bennett coach team and you play in the ACC, you'll pick up enough quality wins to where an 8 seed seems a little like they would have to go on a real losing streak in the ACC, which is not like out of the question, but I don't foresee it. So I definitely think I'd say like 3-4 like a ceiling. I guess split the difference 5 seed.
Yeah.
Obviously you have to this depends on the bracket, but like for you, your expectation is like if they reach what round? What defines a successful season?
I think a successful season is I think it's more about just developing the young players.
Young guys?
Like, I want to see Kihei take steps. I want to see Marcel kind of make his mistakes, but then at the end of the year kind of become a more polished player. I'd love to see kind of one out of the couple young guys like Statman, Tommy Dub, and one of those two kind of take another step. One of the role players, maybe even McCoy take another step. And next year we got some dogs, right? We got one of the Hauser brothers.
Yes, the older one.
Kalen Cedric.
He's redshirting this year.
He's
right?
redshirting, but he was probably one of the top recruits.
I think he was 80th in the top 100.
Yeah,
so still 4-star.
Yeah, right next to Marcel, and I think he's gonna be a very dynamic player. Definitely in the kind of the mold as a Mamadi.
Mamadi, yes. He's slight of frame now, but I think give him a couple years.
He's got some touch. He's got some athletic ability. So I think it's more about just kind of seeing the young players develop.
You're not tying it to a postseason result?
Not tying it to a postseason result. I think just if we can hit a Sweet 16, that'd be really nice.
I think a Sweet 16 would be a reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think.
Sure.
For me, like if this team were to say like a 5 seed and lost to a 12, I don't think it's like by. I think you and I have we've experienced the worst. So like a 5-12 upset is like whatever. But I'm with you. I think a Sweet 16 would be a reason to celebrate. I think you and I'm gonna have to check, but we need to start the Tommy Dub. Tommy Dub, the nickname and the fan club. Tommy Dub.
I want him to succeed, man.
Tommy Dub, number 53.
Number 53. Like I see you. He was a good shooter from the footage of India. It was like something Indian Hills or something.
Indian Hills Community College.
So
that's where, ironically, Iowa State has picked up a couple of really good community college transfers.
Okay, wow.
So
that's good, and he's Italian too. So he's got the little Euro flavor there. So
Marco Bellinelli, Italian.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Also, what was I gonna say? I'm not gonna hold you to anything on the record, but I'm thinking maybe. What are the odds? You come in for the Duke game?
A lot of stars got aligned.
I
think the tickets are
kind of outrageous,
kind of hefty. But I mean, if UVA, I'll put some conditions. If it's a good weekend. If UVA and Duke are playing well, and it seems like one of those big like.
If College Game Day's here, would you come?
Would
assuming schedule and everything is good.
I would 100% come. If able and College Game Day's there and it's gonna be a good game.
Would you pay for a ticket?
I would pay for a ticket.
Like an Upper Bowl.
I would
Upper Bowl. Hey, I just want to say I paid. I paid the price for some Sweet 16 and Elite 8 tickets. I think it was maybe like 400. I think it was like 400 something for 3 games.
Yeah.
And my mom was at first like, "What the hell are you paying so much money for some basketball tickets?" But that MSU Duke game in the Elite 8 and then Tech Duke in the Sweet 16, I got my money's worth.
Look,
I'm not holding you to anything.
Yeah,
but
I'm not a stranger to kind of shelling out for some big tickets. I remember I paid almost like $500 plus to get the full ACC tournament tickets.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Won the ACC tournament, and then obviously you know what happened in the NCAA tournament. But
yeah,
it was a really awesome moment. Got to see it at the Barclays Center. Got to see them, top out, beat believe UNC.
They beat UNC in the title.
Yeah. And I got to see a UNC Duke game.
Yeah.
So again, you gotta spend some money to make some money. That's what I like to say. So spending the money is not big, but
getting some money.
Get the money's worth, man.
Getting some personal finance tips from Jason.
Exactly.
And also, since you're based in Houston / New York. Ironically, both of those have NCAA regionals this year. So Sweet 16 and Elite 8.
Yep.
So maybe you'll end up in the right location for like a really nice region.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's lot to look forward to for sure. But we're hitting like 40-minute mark, so game's also over.
Yeah.
Glad we got to do this in person in this really nice downtown hotel. So thank you. I want to thank you for joining me, Jason.
Yep.
And to the listeners, if you haven't done so already, first off, thank you for listening. And then also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or YouTube. And we'll catch you soon. Thank you.
Peace.